Well, that was easy. Get everything you need in one place. At Quartz, you can find easy-to-use appliances and electronics, plus effortless furniture for every home at unbeatable prices. Get it now and pay later. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Special conditions apply. Offer ends 28th January 2023.
I don't know how to describe it, but I just feel this anger building up inside of me. It's like something you can't describe, but when you feel it, you know. But you know it when you feel it.
Is a fact, strictly facts, and is that.
All right, let's talk about meltdowns for a little bit. My meltdowns might be different from anybody else's meltdowns. Generally, yes, I know when they're going to happen because my meltdowns happen as a result of many little different things that keep happening throughout the day. So it might start from something very simple in the morning and it keeps going on and on and on until maybe it's something very, very simple in the evening that might just be too much. And generally a meltdown is it's not just you're feeling sad, you had a hard day kind of thing. It's a total shutdown of everything. Your senses, your emotions, everything has gotten to the point where you can no longer control and manage what is happening in your body. So my meltdowns, it's not an angry outburst or anything like that. I usually tend to either shut down or I would cry for just something that might be random or might look random. And afterwards, there's no sense of relief afterwards that you might get if you cry because you had a bad day. Afterwards, you feel awful. And then there's also the feelings of why can't I handle, whatever it was? Why can't I manage myself better? Why is it not easier? So generally, meltdowns they're not nice. They're not pretty. And it does feel terrible afterwards. But over time, I've kind of learned different ways to manage a little bit better so that it doesn't get to the point where it becomes too much and I can't handle it anymore. For somebody having a meltdown, one of the important things to do is leave them alone for a little bit first, because during a meltdown, don't expect to have them respond to you or don't expect to be asking questions. It's not a normal situation where they could respond and stop what they're doing. So you do want to give space and you also want to support. Remember that it is not just a behavioral tantrum where you're not getting your way. It is a situation where physically and emotionally you are spent. So the person needs a lot of support. If the support means giving them a hug, if the support means giving them space, they need that time to be able to get themselves back together again before you can then go on to having a conversation or doing something else. So I think the main thing, I know for me, the main thing is I just need space and time to be able to let it kind of sort itself out. And then gradually I could kind of get back into doing everything else.
So when I'm having a meltdown, the first thing I usually want is just to have no one agitate me. This includes, but it's not limited to, bugging them about the problem, just rubbing things in, and how you see just don't bother someone who's having a meltdown too much, because that's just going to make it worse.
It's a different kind of mind. It is probably a little different than yours and mine. It's a different kind of mind. It's a no puzzle if you just try. You'll be alright. The rainbow scene and a brand new vibe. You'll be alright. 4, 3, 2.
We understand that autism is a neurological condition. So sometimes it just means that they need to go to a quiet place where they can reset and restore. So sometimes at schools there are safe places where there are little tents set up with sensory friendly toys, sensory friendly textures, blankets, pillows, and just a nice comfy place where they could be quiet, be themselves, and wind down. Sometimes just once you see that they are starting to wind down, when they're revved, it could be really, really exhausting. So coming down, they may seem depleted. So an act of kindness, such as offering a glass of water or a nice warm hug, if they are prone to being touched, of course, you must know their language. Just even a nice comfy space for them to sit and talk would be really important. Allowing them to orient on a topic that they're familiar with, so something that they're passionate about, will help them change quite drastically. So for example, I remember when I was dealing with a situation where an autistic child had gotten quite aggressive, was screaming, throwing things around the room because they could not handle a math sum. The math sum was the trigger because math was scary for them. So the math sum was the same, perceived as the threat. So in order to avoid it, the behavior became aggressive. So in dealing with the situation, I just calmly sat to the side and waited for them to spiral down, because it eventually did. And they eventually just withdrew into a corner. I realized that they couldn't speak at that time, and I just said that. I just said, buddy, I get it. I know that you can't speak right now. I know that it's a little bit difficult, but just know that I'm here. And I won't leave. You have company, and you just do what you want to do. And for a while, there was some whimpering, and there was some crying, and there was some rocking, and so intermittently, I would just reassure that I was there, and I would just start talking about the weather. I would start talking about the weather. I would start talking about cars. I would start talking about just random things until I saw that there was a shift in body language, and I said, okay, I think I've just made a connection. So then I just continued along that vein until I started seeing him nod. I started hearing him utter little signs of little sentiments of consent and acknowledgement. And then eventually they started talking about things of interest. And because of the categorical thinking, they were able to transition pretty quickly. And then once they were calm, we were able to discuss what happened, and I was able to reassure and deal with the sadness and guilt that occurred afterwards. So it's really important not to jump to conclusions that the behavior is meant to be aggressive, or is meant to be rude, or is meant to be disrespectful or oppositional, but to look at the meaning behind the behavior. Sometimes it looks like defiance, but it really is just difficulty with transition, or just feeling overwhelmed. To interact with, appreciate, accept, and love someone on the spectrum means to let them know that you get it and use the right language, whether it is verbal or nonverbal, and just to have that overall sense of connection.
Well, that was easy. Get everything you need in one place. At Quartz, you can find easy-to-use appliances and electronics, plus effortless furniture for every home at unbeatable prices. Get it now and pay later. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Special conditions apply. Offer ends 28th January 2023.
What's up, Trinidad and Tobago? This is your girl, Giselle Mary Juanita Alvarez, the one and only, all right? Coming to you from Cause and Effect headquarters. So here we're going on now. Every week, Cause and Effect does get at least 3 to 5 calls from parents people from all over Trinidad and Tobago looking for a sense of direction about what to do with their children with autism. You understand? So if you want to keep the work going to help people be more informed, visit we social media pages, Cause and Effect, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and we website www.causeandeffect.co, right? And press that donate button. Help we to keep the work going. All right? As Miss Winterbottom does say, give a little, change a lot. I'll go see you all next week.
It's a different kind of mind. It is bubble a little different than yours and mine. It's a different kind of mind. It's an old puzzle if you just try.